What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Lockdown Defense Sports Network. I am your host for today's episode, Young RG, Robert Garcia, as Coach likes to call me. And I am so excited for this video today, guys. It is here. Week 1 of the NFL season is officially underway. As you can see, repping my Charger-powered Derwin James, nice yellow jersey to get the season kicked off. So, obviously, diving into it, we have the Eagles and Cowboys kicking off the season tonight. However, our season as Charger fans will start kicking off tomorrow on Friday night, although this video will be coming out tomorrow, which is Friday. So today, we play today. Before we get into that game, we're going to dive into a little bit of an overview of a review before we're going into this week, taking a look at some matchups, some history, things like that, and giving my prediction for who's going to win and my analysis for who's going to win this game. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, we are going to be talking about the injury report. So obviously, Najee Harris and Elijah Molden were the two kind of injuries to watch out for. Obviously, we know about the Slater injury and some of the other kind of longer term ones. Junior Colson was just placed on the IR, the season-ending IR. He's going to need leg surgery, so that was a bit of a kind of a shocker. And it may very well look like the Junior Colson experience is over following this season, which really is a shame. I think we were all really hoping he was going to pan out. I know we were all very excited when he was drafted by the Chargers in Harbaugh's first season here and Ortiz's first season here. But it's just been a really down more than not roller coaster. There's been some flashes, but he just has not proven to be the player he was at Michigan. We thought maybe with, Harbaugh coming over, same coach he was great at Michigan with, thinking maybe can he make it happen, and unfortunately he just wasn't able to. So it is what it is. But taking away from that, the other two injuries we have to talk about are, of course, the Najee Harris eye injury and the Elijah Molden knee injury. However, they are both full participants in practice on Wednesday, so 2 days ago from the day this video releases. So this is, as Charger fans, we always kind of joke about it at the beginning of the season, but sometimes not even at the beginning of the season because we've been so cursed. But when the years that we really don't have too many injuries going into week 1, Charger fans can never really believe it because the injury report about by week 6 or so looks like a damn novel. So with that all being said, very happy that these are the only two injuries. Of course, Najee Harris, the eye injury, we all know about the whole fireworks incident. The fact that he's actually ready and playing week 1 is actually insane. So take that for what it's worth. I did not think they would be able to play him. I didn't think I honestly thought he'd start on IR for the season, miss the 4 games, whatever it would be, come back about week 5. But hey, he's back, he's healthy, he's running. So you love to see that. Anytime you can get oh, sorry, meant to announce this as well. I was going to say, anytime you can get have your running back 2 be somebody who's never rushed for under 1,000 yards in a season is pretty damn good. And the reason I say that is because Jim Harbaugh officially announced that Omarion Hampton, the rookie, a first-round Chargers rookie, will be the running back 1 come this Friday game. This didn't really come to a surprise to many. I think if you follow the Chargers closely and you're a big fan, you kind of knew this is where this was going. You don't draft Hampton with that first round pick. What was it, 22? I think it was. And not expect, you don't draft running backs in the first round and not expect them to be your starting running back. And, running back, I always say, is the one position where you come in from the draft in your prime already. We see countless running backs come in and immediately take off. And, after, Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry did take a little bit, but they were really wasting him in Tennessee there for a while, letting Dion Lewis run, getting more touches than him, but whatever. But even Bijan, Saquon, when he first stepped onto the league, he was a great run. I mean, so all of these running backs just have, for the most part, their primes are in like those first 4 or 5 years that they're in the league. I I did think when they drafted him that he was going to be running back one to start the season. There was obviously all those rumors about it was going to be Najee, and then the the Najee injury happened, and then that was kind of it. I think once that happened, it almost solidified it that yeah, it's going to be Hampton that starts. So happy that these are the only two injuries that we have to discuss, and I'm happy that they were both full participants, and we should both be seeing them play today. So what's ahead? Upcoming matchup, week one, of course, we have to talk about it, or we've been talking about it all week. Chargers against the Chiefs in Brazil. I have my score prediction as 24-20. I do think it will be a nip tuck, very tight, back and forth game. The Chiefs over the last 7 matchups are 7-0 against the Chargers. However, if you look at all those games, they are all insanely close, and all were insanely close. Even in the final score, or in one of the cases, up until the final couple of minutes of the game. But to even just go over it really quick, the last 7 games that the Chargers have played against the Chiefs, they've lost by 2, 7, 1, 14, and that game it was only a 7-point game with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So again, nip tuck ball game that the Chiefs just pulled away from at the very end, and then 3, 3, and 6. So besides that 14-point game, or that 14-point loss, which again was a 1-score game with less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, every single other game has been a touchdown or less. So all 1-score games. So again, yes, I understand the Chiefs have owned the Chargers, and Mahomes has owned the Chargers. Totally understand that. However, it's not like he's just dog walking us like he has to some of the other teams in the division. Broncos have given him some run for their money too, especially this past season. But for a while there, I mean, it is what it is. Mahomes just owns the division at this point. This is why it's so tough to pick against the Chiefs winning the whole division at the beginning of the year, because they consistently do it. So we'll see what happens. But again, with all that being said, this is just to say the game will be insanely close. And this is a not so fun fact for Chargers fans that I recently came across, and I needed to share it when I read it. Herbert has had 4 situations, so 4 different games essentially, in which he's left the field against the Chiefs with a lead and at least 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game, and he is 1-3 in those situations. So I always know people always bring up the fact that, oh, Herbert isn't clutch, Herbert doesn't perform in the big moments, this and that, he needs to be better for his team. And I don't know if anybody watched the slop that got spilled by Ryan Clark over on ESPN today, or earlier, but saying that Herbert's never won a big game and he's absolutely terrible in every big game. It's just not true. Okay, it's just not true. The fact of the matter is Herbert's defenses up until last season, and of course, shocker, first season with Harbaugh, have been absolutely trashed. And I'm not even talking about just so bad. They've been like worst of the league, worst in ever bad. Okay. I always harken back to the original stat. In Herbert's first 3 years of his career, he scored the most points of any player ever. And in that same 3 years, Brandon Staley's defense gave up the most points to any teams ever. So it was just like I can't remember what it was. There's like some sort of stat about like teams who averaged giving up at least 27 points per game or some giant number like that. They've only made the playoffs like 4 times or something like that. Herbert was one of those in 2021-2 against the Jags. That year they made the playoffs. So with that all being said, these teams always play each other close. I don't expect this game to be any different. Despite what some casuals think, the Chargers do always play the Chiefs very tough. Chiefs fans know, even though 90% of the time they come away with the win, these games are always hanging in the balance within the final minute or in the final couple of minutes in the fourth quarter. So real Chiefs fans know and real Chargers fans know these games are absolute bloodbaths. And although anybody can win at any point because these games are always so close with such little time to go, the Chiefs more often than not do win it. So with that all being said, it won't shock me that this game is close when it's going to be, within a score within the fourth quarter. But I just do think that some fans need to kind of, Chiefs fans, not necessarily, but some of the other more casual fans in the league need to take off the blinders for a second, really analyze some of these games and what goes into some of these games. Would not shock me one bit if this game went into OT. Those field conditions are definitely going to be something to watch for this game. Definitely got to get those inch-long cleats ready. Eagles fans were talking about it last year when they played against Green Bay in Brazil to open up the season as well. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, just got to knock on wood, make sure, pray for no injuries, hope nobody can get injured. Just want everybody, both sides of the ball, to come out of this clean. It's the worst thing to start off the season with a couple of injuries or even just one major injury. We're already starting off the season with a major injury, so we don't need another one. But with that all being said, I am going to give the score prediction. I do have the Chargers winning 24-20. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is just a homer pick. No, I do truly believe that the Chargers will win this game because I do believe the Chargers are going to split with everybody in their division. And we open up the season with back-to-back weeks against all of our division opponents. So I do have us winning this game against the Chiefs, eventually losing later on to them again losing to them in Kansas City later on in the season, which we will end up splitting. But I do think that the Chargers almost need to win this game because you do not want to be down 0-1 to the Chiefs already, having to go into Arrowhead. So yeah, Chargers, Harbaugh's going to have these guys ready to play. I think this is a game that is very winnable for the Chargers. It's in a neutral site. There's just a lot of, with these international games, there's always a lot of flux and kind of weirdness that goes on. So here's just kind of hoping that the weirdness goes the Chargers way, or, the good kind of weirdness goes the Chargers way this time around. I think they're 1-2 all time in international games. And the one win they do have was in London against the Titans when Mike Vrabel was still coaching them, when he went for the 2-point conversion and the win, and ultimately didn't get it. The 2018 year when, the Chargers were 12-4 with Anthony Lynn and that kind of thing. So, besides that, I know we also lost in Mexico City to the Chiefs one time. I can't remember for the life of me what the other international game was. But like I said, we're 1-2. I think the Chiefs are 3-0 in international games. So definitely would love to be able to hand them their first loss in those types of games. But yeah, very, very excited that football is back. Obviously, we are all, just in pure bliss and just elated. Football is back. We are happy, and we can't wait to watch it. And we're going to dive into it, have videos coming out every single day of this season, and also be sure to tune into our live shows on Tuesday for the Hit Squad, the Lockdown Blitz shows, and we'll be going over, the biggest news of the NFL weeks and things like that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Be sure to check out all of our socials for myself and the gang down below, and also be sure to check out us on all these medias, Twitter, formerly, oh my God, I always do that. X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Gmail. Be sure to send us in your hottest takes. Send us in who you think are going to be winning these divisions. Send us who you think are going to be winning these games. We want to hear from you guys all season long, so be sure to join the conversation down below. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody, and bolt up, baby.